Welcome! In front of me I have the new DJI Mini 4 Pro, and I'll go over unboxing along with a quick look at this tiny little drone. So let's just get straight into it. Oh, that didn't go too well. Oh, come on. There we go. Okay, so we do have a little pull tab right here if I can grab it. There we go. And we can get inside. So in here I assume we have a battery and a bunch of accessories and a controller. And here we have the drone itself with a little bag for moisture. It smells like China. There we go. So here's a drone. Anyway, I'm gonna get into that in a second. Let's actually first look at what we have in here. Okay, so we have additional propellers if something would happen to these ones. We have our cable, and another cable. I assume this one is to connect your device to the controller. And here's the actual controller. There we go. I was looking for these sticks. So you just kind of store them in there and then you can screw them in. There, and another one. Let's pop it in. So, the cable right here would be used so you can stick that out and... okay, so we don't flip anything else. Now, I don't think it's gonna fit my phone, at least not when it's unfolded. Just lock it up. Try it in anyway. Let's give it a shot. Yeah, no, not a chance. Nah, not a chance. So I need to have it folded up to actually get it in here. And yeah, at that point it does fit. Semi. Kind of. Not necessarily the best fit. As you can see, it's not actually sitting in there correctly, so that's a little bit of a big iffy thing. Also at the top, as you can see, it's not really actually gripping it correctly. So this is more designed for actual like normal phones, a flat one, candy bar one, not foldable ones, unfortunately. Now, additionally, you can see there is a cable. So let's see if we can, there we go. Okay, so that's how you unplug it. And from there, you just route it and plug it into your device. Now this is a lightning one. To be honest, no one cares about the lightning port. The second one other. So, okay, so we have lightning and also Type-C. So if you obviously have an Android, you will want to use this one because you have Type-C. If you have an Apple, it for some reason comes with it already applied. So there we go. Now, moving on into the actual drone. I assume this is just kind of gonna clip. Boy, am I sketched out to like pull something. Please use the holder to prepare, blah blah, cool. How do I unclip this? Do I just like yank on it? Oh, yep, I do. Okay, as you can see, it's just a clip that just clips in there. And from there you take it off. And the drone becomes free. So you do, it does basically say to use this when transporting it. So let's flip it over. So I think I'm gonna start off with the bottom one. There we go. And And there we go. Then these ones just flip like this, and you have your tiny little drone. Actually, it has cameras at the back right here, so it can monitor itself. Then we get a cover right here for the camera, and there we go. Oh damn, that is the lightest battery I have actually felt. It feels like it's almost empty. So not much of a battery in here, obviously. So there we go. Now the drone itself weighs measly 249 grams. Obviously, that does matter. Depending on where you are, you might have some regulations for drones and the sizes of them. I believe this one, the Mini, falls under basically being able to use it almost anywhere, as in like no license or anything like that. There are certain countries that require nowadays a license to fly a drone. It's wild, to be honest, but whatever. And there are even stupider laws that someone is trying to pass that will require everyone to basically have the drones be visible, like registered, and see who is flying it where, which massive intrusion of privacy, but whatever. So something to keep in mind. But when you're buying this one, you should be relatively safe in terms of flying it almost anywhere. Obviously, there are still regulations for flying it in crowded areas in like cities, depending on where you are. At least where I am, for instance, I basically have to fly this as a pedestrian almost. So if I'm trying to fly it over a street, I would literally need to do it where there is a crossroad or something like that, or where there is no cars, even though I'm high in the air. And speaking of high in the air, let's talk about what this drone can actually do. So bring up this to the view. So on the website, we have a bunch of information, specifications, which is actually pretty nice. So max acceleration speed, or acceleration ascend speed, so upwards, is about 5 meters per second on the S mode and N mode, and then on the C mode it's 3 meters per second. Now max descent is basically the same, 5 meters, S, N, also 5, and C 3 meters per second. Then max horizontal speed at a sea level with no wind, they do specify that, is on the S mode 16 meters per second. I would say that's actually pretty fast. 12 meters per second on the N mode, and 12 meters per second on the C mode. Now max takeoff altitude is with DJI Mini Pro Intelligent Flight Battery is 4,000 meters, and then with DJI Mini 3 Series Intelligent Flight Battery Plus, it was 3,000, so we get an additional 1,000 meters here. Now moving on into the max flight time. Again, it varies depending on which mode you pick. So you have the with Intelligent Flight Battery, it's 34 minutes, and with Intelligent Flight Battery Plus, it's about 45 minutes. So actually we get nearly over 10 minutes additional flight time. Max hovering time is 30 minutes with Intelligent, and Intelligent Plus is 39 minutes, so 9 additional minutes. Now moving on, max flight distance, it's rated to be about 18 kilometers. It's in kilometers, with Intelligent Flight Battery enabled, measured with the flying at 40 miles per hour, or kilometers per hour, sorry, my bad, in a windless environment at 20 meters above sea level. They basically give you all the information on what were the circumstances for the test that they were doing this, and battery, like what they were doing it to achieve this. So that's actually really nice. It's pretty extensive and good. Now with Intelligent Plus Battery Plus, we have 25 kilometers flight, so obviously better one, and measurement while flying at 44 kilometers per hour in a windless environment at 20 meters above sea level. So even though it was flying actually faster, at 4 kilometers per hour faster, and the battery, the Fly Battery Plus, the Intelligent whatever, Plus, it actually gives you a better range and also faster one. So you can fly faster and have a better range. Pretty good. Now, moving on into some additional info, if I can actually find it. Cameras, we have a image sensor, a 1x1 and 1.13 inches, CMOS effective pixels is about 48 megapixel sensor, so I'm assuming that's the main one actually. And then we have like I believe 2, 4, 6. It looks like 6 additional cameras for tracking and just trying to keep the device stable and doing all that like smart stuff. So you can see 2 here, 2 right here, and then at the bottom as well. Let's actually fold this up because it's taking a little bit too much space. There we go, and then flip that up. There we go. Okay, so now it's going to be a little bit smaller. Okay. Now, when it comes down to videos, normal and slow motion, it's ISO range. So we don't actually have frame rates or anything like that, or resolutions. We have ISO range. So for video at normal and slow motion, at normal, it's from 100 to 6400. Then D-Log mode, it's 100 to 1600 instead of the 64. And then we have again 100 to 1600 and HLG, whatever. Actually, I have no clue what that is. Give me a sec. And moving on, night, we have an ISO range on whatever normal mode, I guess. I think those are modes, and it's in parentheses, so I have no actual clue what it refers to be completely honest. But we are looking at 100 to 12,800 ISO range. And then photos, there we go, we have some info. So 12 megapixel photos, we're looking at a range of 100 to 6400 ISO, and 48 megapixel from 100 to 3200 range. Shutter speed, 1/16,000. And then that's 12 megapixel, and 48 megapixel 1/8,000. And max image size, 8064 by 6048. Anything else? I'm looking for probably the more interesting ones, like the video recording. There we go, so found it. So video resolutions, encoding is in H.264 and H.265. The H.265 actually is the interesting one. So it's the newer one, which gives better image fidelity. Now we're looking at 4K, 3840 by 2160, obviously resolution, and you can record at 24, 25, 30, 48, 50, 60, and 100 frames per second. The last one is actually quite wild. And full HD, meaning 1080p by 1920 by 1080. Again, same resolutions as before, with an additional one at 200 frames, though it has an asterisk, so I'm assuming that's a slow motion. Let's see, recording frame rate rates, the corresponding video playback, a slow motion video, 4K 100 frames. Okay, so at 4K 100 frames is a slow motion, and I assume it's the same thing, yeah, for the 200 frames at 1080p. So there we go. Not really gonna go into too much depth into like the video recording and all that stuff. Obviously, spewing numbers and all that stuff, it's all well and whatever, but in all honesty, it's probably better to test it out and see the actual like results on how it performs actually in real world scenarios. So that is something that I recommend doing over just looking at the specs. The specs itself seems to be pretty good. Obviously better than I did look at this device a while back when it was like the first, I think, DJI Mini or Mini 2. I was really wanting to buy one, but at the time the camera right here was pretty lackluster, and honestly it was more like just a toy drone to fly it around and just have an image from the sensor. Nowadays this camera actually seems to be pretty respectable and should give you some really decent results on paper. Like I said, I haven't tested it out, it's completely brand new. But in general, the drone itself is pretty nice because of the size of it. It's a very compact one, you can basically take it anywhere. One thing that I'll mention, the bigger ones come with a case that you can store the drone in. Here all you get is this little strappy strap, and put it on and I guess prop it in your backpack, which I wouldn't recommend. So I would probably highly recommend picking up a actual case for this drone, so you can transfer it safely and protect it whenever you're actually carrying it, transferring, taking it somewhere. So yeah. So there we go. That would conclude the overview of this device and specs, unboxing, all that stuff. So if you found this very helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.